Hello everyone and welcome back to another Halloween makeup tutorial. Today we are doing Black Cat from Spider-Man, who I actually dressed up as last year for Halloween and just didn't have the time to film the makeup. So let's get into it. This is a very easy glam today. I am starting out with my Brighten Your Day primer because I want my complexion to be very bright and very youthful looking because obviously Black Cat is pretty young. And to go along with that, I'm going to be underpainting all my concealer. So under the eyes, over the cupid's bow, and then a little bit on my chin because as you can see, I have a little spot right here. And I just want to cover that up because I want that perfect comic book, graphic novel complexion, honey. So I am just blending this all out with a wet beauty blender, making sure that I really blend it out because we want everything to be seamless and flawless. Even though we're going to be covering this with foundation, your underpaint will show if you do not blend it out correctly. So take your time, really blend the edges, blend the seams. There's no rush here. Give yourself plenty of time to get ready. After I did my concealer, I added some liquid blush and I went with this darker, like rosy color over my orange one because I wanted to have that like blushing, youthful. I've been running around on rooftops all night, so I'm a little bit flushed kind of look. And I just really blended that out with a buffing brush. Obviously, again, you really want to blend this out and choose the right coverage foundation. So I'm using the Conceal and Define from Revolution and then really blending this out with a sponge. This is a mid to high coverage foundation. I am in the color F4, I believe. So that's one of the more fair colors, obviously, but they have a pretty good shade range. And the concealer from this line is very good as well, and I need to pick up some of it. For brows, I'm using a little bit of the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Powder, and I'm using the darker shade that I have. The other one's just a little bit too red. Obviously, you can do a more blonde brow, but her eyebrows are still pretty dark because obviously that white hair is not actually her natural hair color. So you can do a darker brow and it's not going to look silly, I promise. Plus, there's a mask involved here, so you don't have to worry about your brows too much. But I just went in for a nice filled in kind of defined brow. The brow shape isn't super important to her look, so you can kind of just follow your natural brow. And the eyes are just as simple. So I threw on some concealer as primer and obviously blended that all out with my sponge just to make sure it's nice and thinned out because this isn't like a crazy cut crease, so you don't need a super thick layer of primer. And then I just used a little bronzer for the crease. Nothing crazy, just a little bit to define the eye. Like I said, we're wearing a mask for this look. Obviously, her mask is a huge part of it. And she doesn't really have a lot going on with the eyes because of that. Most of her eye space is pretty much covered. So I just use a little bit of bronzer to give me a little bit more of a defined brow bone, make it a little more cartoony and drawn on. And then I just made sure to really blend it out so there wasn't this harsh dark line. I know it looks a little dark on camera, but in person it is not as dark. And for the brow bone, I just added a little bit of the e.l.f. brightening powder that comes in the contour quad. Again, just to define the features, give the brow a little bit more of a snatched, drawn on look, and also just blend out the corners of the bronzer a lot more. And for the eyes, I went with a shimmery whitey gray shade. This shade is actually older than time itself. This is one of the first eyeshadows I ever bought, and it's super old and probably super expired, but I refuse to get rid of it, and I'm going to keep using it because it's fine. So I'm just packing this on my lids, give us a little bit of shimmer, and it kind of matches all her accessories and fun stuff like that. So I just tap that on with a big fluffy brush, and then of course we need a big old cat eye. And I'm not gonna lie, my liner did not turn out as good as I wanted it to, so thank God for the mask because it hid how poorly these wings turned out. But just give yourself a huge wing. And then, of course, I put on a ton of mascara. This is the Sky High mascara just to make my lashes nice and long and defined. We want to draw attention to the eye while not detracting from everything else. But the eyes are the focal point of the face here. And then I went in with a little bit of brown pencil and just went under my eyes to add a little smoky defined effect. You don't need to go overboard with it. Initially, when I thought what her makeup would look like before I looked at reference pictures. I was thinking like a huge blown out smoky eye, but that's more like Catwoman, and this is much more subdued. So I added some lashes. These are just my faux minks, mostly just to the outer corner to add just a little bit of definition because without them it just looks incomplete to me. And then I just did a real light contour to define my face a little bit and give me more of those angular cartoony features that I don't have because I have my round little baby face. But yeah, I just took the e.l.f. bronzer that I used earlier on the eyes so everything is nice and seamless and matches because we love a cohesive look. But you don't need to go in super heavy with anything. And then with the brightening powder, I just highlighted my cheekbones as well. And I didn't add any extra blush or anything because we put that liquid blush on earlier. You can if you want, but I felt like it made it look too dramatic. And like I said, her look overall is pretty soft, other than the eyeliner. So I set that all down with my setting spray and then went in with my lip liner in kind of this mauve color. Now, you can do whatever color you want. I just went with what I had to kind of help define my lip shape and again give those drawn on kind of like pouty lips. And even though her costume would make you think she wears a red lip, she doesn't. There's a few pieces of art that she's on that I've seen that she has these really dark red lips, but in the comics, her lips are actually this kind of frosty beige kind of peach color. And I have this MAC lipstick and I decided to use it. I don't remember what the color is. It's from a holiday collection from like 2 or 3 years ago. But yeah, it's actually this kind of like frosty, very 90s esque color. So I was really excited to use this because I never get to use this color. So, costume. Bodysuit is from Amazon. I just added the fur trim that I literally ordered on Amazon, and then the belt is also from there, and you'll recognize it from my Starfire costume. Mask, also Amazon, and then I threw on my white wig that has been to war for me. So I just did that big deep side part with the swoopy bang and put on these nails with little cats on them, and that's it.